Welcome to Old Guy Tech,
the OGT.TV recording studio.
Technology for the rest of us.
Hi, this is Rob with Old Guy Tech TV Interviews, and today we're interviewing Kevin Brown, running for Supervisor District 5, is that correct?
That's correct.
First of all, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me,
I
Rob.
really appreciate it. And I always start out with people running for office by thanking them, first of all. It's because of you and people like you that make the system work. We need people to run. We need qualified people to run. And if you have never worked in a campaign or run a campaign, you have no idea how busy this guy is. So having him come in and visit our little studio here is an honor. So thank you very much, Kevin. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. It's my honor to be on your show finally.
Good.
Had to run for office to get on your show.
We'll try to do better.
There we go. I'll make myself more available.
Yeah, that's right. So why don't we start out a little bit with the basic stuff? Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your business experience and why you've decided to run?
Okay. Well, I've been in business in Placerville now for 16 years. My wife and I own Breaker Glass Company, which is located on Placerville Drive, and we are the largest auto glass company in the county. We, about 15 years ago, started going to chamber mixers, and when they see you at a regular mixer, they start saying, "We've got one." They throw the hook out.
Yeah.
And I joined the chamber board 13 years ago. Yeah. I've been on that board for 13 years. I was the president in 2006. Since then, I have volunteered for or been appointed to by the Board of Supervisors or the City Council. The number is astounding. I believe it's somewhere up around 17 different boards and committees over the past 13, 14 years, 15 years.
Doesn't take long.
No.
Yeah.
And I am also the president of the El Dorado Union High School District Board of Trustees. I ran for that seat 4 years ago.
Right.
And I'm on my second year as president. I sat on the Economic Development Advisory Committee for the county Board of Supervisors in 2006 to 2008. When they passed the general plan in 2004 and finally implemented it around 2006, it was required under the general plan to have an advisory committee.
Right.
I was on the initial committee for the first 2 years. I drew the short straw because they had to do, since we're all started at the same time, you had to draw straws. Who had the 2 year, who had the 4 year? Right. Well, I got 2.
You got 2.
And I decided to move on after that and not continue on it and to do other things because it was just getting started.
Yeah.
I am currently the chair of the Placerville Economic Advisory Committee. All of the different boards and committees that I've worked on have been mostly focused around business, around children, students, children, and around economic development. With all that in mind, I decided that the next step for me was to run for supervisor to help my community. I believe economic development is really actually one of the most important matters we have to deal with on the board, and we have to find a way to increase our economy without exploding our overdevelopment within the county and destroying our rural heritage.
Yeah, it is a bit of a balancing act, and we so desperately need jobs in El Dorado County. And I tend to find California in general and El Dorado County on top of that very business unfriendly.
That is correct.
And what can we do?
Well, you have to get people to buy into the fact that what's the most important thing that you need in your life? You need a job.
Right.
We all need jobs.
Yeah, we need to pay those bills.
And one of the things that I try to make clear is I use it from a different standpoint. I don't use myself as an example. I use my kids or your kids or anyone else's kids or grandkids. I have 3 children in college right now. I have one left at home who's my daughter. She's a freshman in high school. But I use one of my sons, Kyle, as an example. He's a freshman in college, and he loved growing up in El Dorado County. He absolutely loves it here. He would love more than anything at this time, unless he meets a woman and something changes. We know how life can take you in a different direction.
Right. Yeah.
He would love to come back to El Dorado County and hold a decent job and raise his family here.
Definitely.
This is the reason we moved here, was to give our children a better life.
Yeah.
You have to get the community, your citizens, to understand when we're talking about economic development, it's not just about ourselves. It's about the future. It's about our children and grandkids being able to grow up, raise their families, and work within the community that they love.
Right.
And that's the first step. That you
Okay.
have to get a mindset where people understand that. Next, we have to work on what types of jobs actually fit our county and our environment. A lot of people look at different aspects, and we talk in big box stores where you pay minimum wage jobs.
Right.
And that's probably not the kind of job Kyle would want to come back to.
Not in the long term. Yes.
Right.
Right.
They do provide jobs.
Right, right.
But we're talking more of the high-tech sector, something that pays a good wage. Medical research, medical field is very
Right.
very big right now, and we're working on that as well on the city of Placerville. There is
In what way?
well, one of the city of Placerville is with our economic advisory committee, we are looking at several sectors, and one is in the medical industry. Now, I'm talking, we have STEM Express. That is, they do stem cell research.
Okay. All right.
That is a huge new environment
Absolutely.
for medical research.
Right.
And we have them right here in Placerville. We're talking about looking for other types of medical research or alternative medicine to bring to El Dorado County, to bring jobs and also to have people have more options.
I've talked to a lot of people, and the angle with the medical has never come up before.
Isn't it?
Yeah, so that's great. That is definitely an area. We talk a lot about trying to get jobs beyond the big box store type jobs because they pay minimum wage and they're kind of just there. And it's important that we find some kind of niche that'll bring a job that somebody could maybe make a career out of. And we have this big open area in El Dorado Hills in this business park.
Correct.
And it sure would be nice to see multiple things, come into El Dorado County that would have that entry-level position that might be able to pay a living wage and actually become your career as you move along. Is there anything in the wind that you've heard of or anything that you know that are looking at us?
In the county's portion right now, not exactly sure about that because I'm working with the city on that. But I know that the county does have a program called the Buxton Report, and we use that in the city too. And then you first identify the location where you wish to bring in some sort of a business.
Right.
Then you run your report based on the location and based on now, do you want retail? Do you want commercial? Do you want industrial? Do you want engineering?
Right.
And you can actually cater this program to tell you what would come in there. And then you go out and you try to attract those types of businesses.
Right.
I think in the El Dorado Hills area, most people may not even know that we have some very high-tech manufacturing going on there in submersive unmanned robotics for the submarines. They make those in El Dorado Hills. It's like, do people really know that? Now, there's a job I could imagine would pay very well.
Yeah.
So I think that engineering is huge. Green technology would be something I think we should really go after.
Right.
And there has been another thought of trying to bring in some more type of a college campus also to El Dorado County.
It was funny when the UC system was looking for locations to put another university. We were in the mix. We didn't get it. Merced County ended up getting it. But there have been numerous examples of where I have felt that El Dorado County has been business and friendly. And one of the biggest ones that gets me is the Intel situation. We had an opportunity going back in the mid-'80s when they first started building their big facility in Folsom. They were looking at Folsom and they were looking at us. And just an example of what can be done and how short-sighted El Dorado County was, Folsom said, you know what, you got a nice piece of property there, we would love to move into that location. How can you help us? And the board went, no. You got to pay your TIM fees. You got to pay your water hookup fees. You got to pay the road improvement fee. I mean, they just said, no, we're not going to help you. You want to come in here, you're going to pay. Folsom, on the other hand, said, what can we do for you? Can we build you the roads? Can we give you, a discount for 10 years on your taxes?
Right.
Can we do? They did everything opposite of what we did, and look where it ended up.
That's correct.
So I've always had this anger building inside of me going, we've got to do something in El Dorado County that may be beyond some of these people that have set on the board that they have to think, you know what, maybe we have to give a little to get a lot.
I call it incentive, and we need to give incentive to bring
Right.
business here. You've got Texas giving incentive to California businesses to leave California, and
doing
they're
it.
leaving.
And they are doing it.
So if El Dorado County
Right.
wants to be a player on the field of business and business attraction, we have to give them incentive.
Yes.
And I don't see why the board cannot come to some kind of an agreement. It takes three votes
Yeah.
to get up and decide, okay, we want this business. First you decide who you want to attract or the sector you're looking for and say,
Right.
look, what can we do?
Right. Right.
Why is it so hard to play on that field? I'm not sure if it's actually the board themselves that hasn't thought that way, if there's been other reasons they haven't. But I can tell you that being in business for 16 years, and that this is basically my focus and has been on the majority of boards and committees I've served on, is you need to bring them in, and you need to welcome them. Open your arms, welcome them, ask them, what can we do to help you? 10-year stay on property taxes, that's huge. Well, waiving TIM fees, helping with road improvements. Now, the business park down in El Dorado Hills, the infrastructure's already
pretty
there.
much there, yeah.
There may
Right.
be a few things that have to be improved, but that's where the infrastructure is.
Right.
So why wouldn't we go out of our way to try to bring them here?
I
think
know.
that's something that I would do right out of the gate. That's where I would be looking, because
Yeah.
I believe that, you have to give to get.
Absolutely.
And if you expect them just to come here and just fork everything out, well, then they're going to you better believe they're going to go 10 miles away where somebody's going to give them a better deal. And then they have their workforce comes from El Dorado County, travels across the county line,
That's right.
works there,
Right.
so we get the extra impact on our roads,
Right.
the extra exhaust in the air,
Yep.
all those things that happen.
All the
and
negative.
Folsom gets the
They get the taxes. They get, everybody. We've talked about this as business owners about how we're bleeding down into Folsom and Sacramento because the majority, even to this day, even with Walmart here, the money is still going down the hill.
oh yeah.
And I mean, I use this as an example. How can a county our side not even have a Ford dealership? I mean, it just like, wouldn't you want to do everything you possibly can do to try to attract the business to open up in here?
Yes.
I would. I know you
Absolutely.
would.
Absolutely.
But you know what it takes? I think it takes a businessman's mentality, to be honest with you. You and I both, I've been self-employed since '82 in El Dorado County and fought and scratched and worked my way every single time. I've won some, I've lost some.
Yes.
But I love El Dorado County. I raised my kids here. You mentioned the same thing. So I think it's important that you do focus on what are we going to do for jobs, because what's your feeling with the housing? I guess we got a mini boom coming back again, and a little bit going on with Serrano. What's your feeling about housing?
Well, be honest with you, like I said, my focus is on economic development. Now, there's a mindset that we're building too many houses and that it's we're overcrowding. And my thought is, shouldn't we have the jobs first? Shouldn't we be sure that we can employ the people that are moving here, or are we building new houses to have people work down the hill? And again, if they're working down the hill, they're going to stop and shop on their way home.
Yes.
They're already in Folsom. They're already
Yes.
next to
Yes.
the outlet stores, et cetera, Sacramento, what have you. And they're going to that sales tax leakage continues. So we get to sell them the home, but everything is done down the hill.
Yeah,
How
and it
about we
continues.
create jobs and work on jobs first?
Right.
I have been pro-business, pro-jobs for the entire 16 years that I've been working and representing this county and volunteering and you name it.
Right.
I've always been about jobs.
Right.
Jobs come first. I understand when you build homes that there are temporary jobs from the construction and et cetera, but that's not the ongoing job I'm talking about. I'm talking about the job that rooftop supports. And if you build the houses first, then our unemployment rate would be even higher.
Yeah, I think we still have a lot of empty homes here, and
Sure.
I'm always a little confused at watching this new construction going on when we still have an overabundance of open homes. But that being what it is, I'm glad that your focus is on jobs, because that would be my focus as well, and I think everybody watching the show would have to agree. I mean, they want to live in this county, they want to work in this county. And I don't see any other way of really bringing money into El Dorado County unless we do something on that aspect. And it's funny talking to people. Now, you mentioned the rural lifestyle. So you get a lot of people that say, well, I don't want any change in my rural lifestyle. So how do you answer them?
Well, there are issues going on with the county right now on designation of rural center, community centers, community regions, and we really are, this county is probably about 75% rural, and we need to stay that way. We need to keep all of our development in the areas where there's infrastructure and where it would be considered like a community region where you have infrastructure. So to continually debate building and developing in the rural areas, we are a rural county. That's why I moved here. I moved to Pollock Pines. Pollock Pines is rural.
Right.
I love Pollock Pines. You go down Sly Park Road to Pleasant Valley Road, the back way to come to Placerville, that's all rural.
Right.
I wouldn't want to see development out there.
Correct.
You go down Highway 50, which is where our infrastructure is, then there are areas down there where we should have jobs brought in. I specifically still believe that we do need to develop business climate in El Dorado County. I would vote for jobs before rooftops. That's just the way that I believe. It's unfortunately the truth of the matter is we may need. Let me step back for a second.
Sure,
So on the high school board, we have declining enrollment in our high schools.
Right.
All of our school districts have declining enrollment, and there's an issue with that. The reason we have declining enrollment is because one, a lot of families have moved away through the recession because they couldn't get jobs and they couldn't afford to live here. But there's something else called aging out communities.
Correct.
I live in one. When my daughter graduates, my fourth child is done, we're not moving.
Right.
So that house doesn't open up for a young family to come in and bring kids in to fill the school districts.
Correct.
So
Right.
unfortunately, they do need other homes. Well, we need to get the homes that are empty filled first.
Right.
And we need to fill those with young families who can work here, live and play, and raise kids. Because as the school districts see declining enrollment, the numbers start to drop, the income starts to drop. At some point, you're going to have to cut back on services. You'd have to lay off teachers. Programs would
Right.
be cut because your income is based on your student enrollment.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I truly believe that we need to bring jobs in to fill the houses that are empty. There's plenty of empty houses in Pollock Pines alone.
Sure.
Not to mention the rest
Sure.
of the county. So
Sure. And then, of course, you have all of Serrano and that whole area and Camera Park. And
Plenty.
Now, remind me again now, since the redistricting, your District 5, where does that start and end?
It's all of the south, all of the basin, basically, all of the El Dorado County in the basin, and then it comes down to Pollock Pines, and it goes from Gilmore
Yeah.
all the way across to, if you were to draw a line from Gilmore straight across the freeway to Starks Grade, and it comes down Starks Grade to Sly Park Road, then makes a right, so you get the left side where the lake is.
Right.
Right side becomes District 2, and then it encompasses around Mormon Immigrant Trail and heads back up to Tahoe.
Okay.
So it's the largest portion of Pollock Pines, but it's about 3,500 voters in Pollock.
Isn't it amazing that large of an area and you have 3,500 voters? So that does show you how rural that particular area in your district is.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Both
it's very
sides.
rural. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about environmental impact on our forests, and let's talk a little bit about maybe management of forest service. I mean, we used to have a mill in El Dorado County, and we no longer do. And we know that Sierra Pacific's lumber is going down the hill to another mill somewhere. Has anybody? I'm not aware of anybody going back to Sierra Pacific and saying, "Hey, look, is there anything we can do to readdress your situation here and help you bring jobs back?" Because the mill brought some very good jobs.
Well, I know Sierra Pacific has closed several of their mills, not just ours.
Right.
And I'm not sure if the timber industry has come back enough for them to reopen multiple mills. Absolutely know that we would fight for the Camino mill because our current president of our county chamber works for Sierra Pacific.
Oh, I see.
Mark
Yeah.
Luster. And I know that he knows how passionate we are we would love to see Sierra Pacific have a stake back in El Dorado County in a large way. I'm not sure about that at this point, whether that's one of the ones that would be considered for reopening or some type of redevelopment to bring in some type of jobs in that location as well.
Right.
There was talk at one point of turning it into putting businesses there. I don't know whose idea that was, to be honest with you, but I know there was talk about it.
Well, I know that they're using part of the parking lots for RV storage.
Yep, they have a storage unit
They have
there.
done that, yeah. So that, I suppose that's better than nothing. But that doesn't make a job.
No, and as far as forest health, I believe in that thinning the forest is vital to the environment to protect it from such major fires, such as the Rim Fire.
Yeah.
That fire ended up being the third largest in California history, and it was humongous. Well, I truly believe that thinning the forest and eliminating a lot of the fuel on the ground really can protect us in the long term.
Yeah, and all you have to do, it's interesting when you look in history, the Indians that lived in our area, they managed our forest. They would go and actually clear the underbrush around the trees because they realized with that fuel there, if it gets too hot, it kills the trees. They were smart enough to figure it out. But now we have a mentality in our forest areas of, no, we don't want anybody in there. We want no encroachment. And we've had difficulty in our forest as far as we've got some road closure situations going on. We have some literally out of control law enforcement officers in that area that have been removed because of difficulties with them and all that. So I think forest management, we talk about what brings dollars in here, and we haven't even talked about the tourist trade. That's, El Dorado County has an awful lot to offer.
Yes, we do.
Besides the beautiful lake that we have, we've got the biggest Jeeper Jamboree situation, I think, in the country with everything. And so maybe there's another opportunity to bring jobs in El Dorado County.
Tourism's huge as far as that goes.
Yeah. Get that going, and that would be a big one as well. Well, any other ideas on what we can bring into the county?
Well, actually, tourism is actually another one of the biggest draws, and that we should really expand on it. Through the county chamber, we have our tourism director, and we have one of the largest RFPs from the county where we get the TOT dollars that come back to us to promote tourism within the county. We promote it in the entire county, not just West Slope, but Tahoe. We've got our skiing, mountain biking, horseback riding, hiking, trails. You've got your lakes and streams. You've got your wineries. You've got Apple Hill. You've got rafting. We have a lot to offer here. We just need to market it more.
Right.
We need to maybe do a little redefining of some of the areas. As long as the snow is not coming in, the last 2 years has been very bad and hard on the ski resorts. Well, then we need to adapt. Diamond Peak, which is in Incline Village, they are changing from not just a ski resort, but in the summer, spring and summer times, they're mountain biking and hiking. They're changing to be a year-round resort.
Right.
That's what I think we need to look at here in the county as well for Heavenly and Sierra.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, we can really push harder to get more tourism dollars here, because those tourists come, spend their money here, and then leave.
Now, remind me, there is a position within the county of an individual that's their job. Is that correct? Does that job still exist? I don't know what comes and goes within the county, but I think it was a tourism director.
That is through the county chamber.
Yeah, through
that
the county
Jody
chamber.
Franklin. She
Okay.
is our tourism director. She's underneath the El Dorado County Chamber of Commerce. We also have the Tahoe Media Film Office through the county chamber, which brings in commercials, movies, small productions, large productions, and they're here quite frequently throughout the year. We get about $3 million a year on average just out of the film industry that they bring here, and a lot of that's quiet. A lot of people don't even realize it's going on around them, but it's here. They bring it in here, and that's part of what the RFP money that we get from the county is spent to attract film and directors and producers here.
Yeah, obviously we have the beautiful vistas that can be used, and I know that there's been a number of short shots of some of the local TV shows in our area, and even gold panning, even little, let's get on gold panning for a minute. What do you feel? How do you feel about this? What do you want to recall it? Canceling of dredging for gold that the state of California has implemented.
It's job killing. I mean, an individual has a right to make a living. Some of these miners and dredgers and have been doing this for years. They're doing it for their whole life.
Yeah.
And then you take that away from them and tell them that they can't do that anymore. I believe that is anti-business, and it's not just El Dorado County, obviously,
No,
but
it's a statement,
it is a
right?
state, and,
Yeah.
I believe that is a job killer. Yeah. And it's telling people that you can't do what you've been doing. It's basically closing down a sector of business, basically. And I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I can't figure out, as big as California is, how it is that we are so anti-business. It just, I mean, this is one example where, dredging, they had junk science. Let's put it this way. That's what I call it. I call it junk science when you get somebody that comes in and says, "Oh, you're harming the little one-legged toad thing," or something. I don't know, whatever it may be,
Poor toad.
Yeah, poor toad. But, we got to protect him because he's special. And then we don't want you dredging anything up from the bottom, and it's like, guys, there's multiple studies, and you can get a study to report it any way you want that study to go, right?
You can.
So then it comes down to from the level of supervisor in a county all the way up to an assembly person to a state senator on up, trying to get them to understand that you need to create jobs, and California needs to change its mentality.
It does.
And I believe it's going to be your job when you're elected supervisor for District 5 to try to get that word to those guys just down the road from us that, look what you're doing to California. And is that in your view? Are you looking long term and saying, hey, I'm going to do what I can in the state level as well?
Well, absolutely. As a supervisor, you interact with the state quite frequently on many issues. And one thing that people know is you never wonder where you stand with me. I have no problem telling people how it is. So if it comes to the state level, I have no problem telling them how they're hurting our county.
Right.
And not just the state, but of course our focus would be the county.
Sure.
I have no problem with that. Luckily, I know a few of our local electeds, and I know that they'll be preaching to the choir with them, but we need to get to the majority of the state legislature and say, hey, look what you're doing, and complain. Let them know that this is not right. We need to fight for what we believe in, and if you don't fight and if you just give in, then they just keep taking more.
Yeah, they seem to. I mean, it's just crazy. What's your feeling on this fire tax that everybody's been talking about, including me?
Well, I'm obviously opposed to it, and I'm hit with it as well, just like everybody else is, and I don't agree with it. I believe it is no more than just a tax. From what I understand is that it is not actually used exactly as they say it is. I just read something recently that it is not actually used in the manner for which it was originally billed as.
Right.
It's just, you talk about California having a bad business climate.
Right. There's another example.
What do they do whenever they have a bad business climate and they have to come up with income? They raise our taxes.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's another income stream.
And what bothers me, for those of you out there, you see it, and it's a fee, and you may grump and all that, but it's not a fee, folks. It's an out-and-out tax. And like you said, and shame on me, I haven't investigated enough to find out exactly what it is they're using that funding for, but I do know they're already talking about raising that fee for next year. They're claiming they're still not getting enough money. So I'm always a little perplexed on funding for CAL FIRE. They get a portion of the property tax, and you would think in our county, with all the housing and everything they would get more than enough to be able to spend the money that they need in El Dorado County. But I don't really understand what it's all about. And unfortunately, last year when I had now Supervisor Veerkamp in, who was the fire chief for a long time, was very vehement that this tax is really, really needed, but couldn't give me a reason that I liked as to why. What's happened to the funding chain? Is it a population loss? What is it? And so something for you to investigate once you're supervisor. I think you need to look at that too and try to figure out what's going there. We're going to be hitting our 30-minute mark here, and I tend to talk too much, and so what I want you to do, Kevin, is kind of look in the camera and talk to the folks out there and why they should support you. A little bit about how you plan to bring jobs into El Dorado County and what makes El Dorado County so great.
Well, El Dorado County, I think, is great because of what we have to offer. We talked about the tourism earlier, about we have the mountains and streams. Now, for District 5, Tahoe is the jewel of the Sierra.
Yeah.
Pollock Pines is nature's wonderland. We are now one. We are now one district, and we need to embrace that. There are many people that believe that they were dealt a bad hand when we were combined, but a lot of people don't understand why. First and foremost, the reason is because the state requires all districts to be within 2% population of each other. District 5 was 17% out of balance. They had to change it. There was nothing they could do. They had to do it. People should vote for me. I spent the last 16 years on the West Slope, yes, serving all 4 districts. I know the districts, I know the supervisors, I know past supervisors, I know staff, I know their issues. I am very tied in over here with private sector, business, nonprofits, you name it. I have been serving on that. I bring that to Tahoe. The number one complaint I hear in Tahoe is that the county doesn't care about us. If we get a supervisor from Pollock, we'll be hung out to dry. Well, that's not true. Wow. I'm bringing to Tahoe the knowledge of this West Slope and how to work with others to get what Tahoe needs.
Right.
I don't believe that someone from Tahoe will have the same advantage that I have. I do care about Tahoe. You can go through my website and look at any of the organizations that I've served on over the past 16 years and make phone calls. You'll never find anyone that will tell you I didn't put those I served first.
Right.
So that's why they should vote for me.
Absolutely. And I'll put my 2 cents in on Tahoe. Tahoe, those folks up there, first of all, you have a very transient population up there. And also, they do feel a bit disenfranchised because, to be honest with you, when you go up to Tahoe to do campaigning, half of the people don't even know that they're in El Dorado County. They think they're in a Tahoe County or something, or whatever it may be. So that one's that's a tough district, and I really wish you well with your campaign. I know we're coming up to the June, and you got I believe there's 8 people running.
There's 6 in ours.
6 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's 8 in District 4.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to keep track of all the numbers. So that tells me, and you as well, that with that many people running, there's an awful lot of unhappy people. And I believe that, you, as you stated, you've got the experience, you're a businessman. I want to again thank you for coming into Old Guy Tech TV and do an interview with me here, and let the people out there know a little bit about you and what you stand for. And once again, I want to thank you very much, Kevin.
Okay, thank you.
You know what? I wish you the very best in the election. Again, like I say, toughest job in the world is running for it.
Okay.
And then we're going to hold you accountable once you're elected.
Absolutely.
All right.
I have no problem with that.
Perfect. Hey, this is Rob with Old Guy Tech TV Interviews, and I had the opportunity to interview Kevin Brown here. And remember, you can go to our website and can always see this interview with Kevin. It'll be up on our website as well as YouTube. That'll give you an opportunity to link it to your website if you would like.
Will do.
And, I understand some of you feel that your vote doesn't count, but you know what? Your vote counts, and it counts at the local level more than anything else, and it's important that you get to know these candidates. And if you would like to come in and talk or have an interview or whatever it may be with our show, we'd more than love to have you come on in and express your point of view. So once again, thank you for watching. This is Rob with Old Guy Tech TV Interviews. We'll see you next time.
Take care.